Hey, Rich,
Hey, Michael.
and welcome everybody to Bit Punch Radio episode 056. On tonight's episode, we are going to, man, we got a lot of books. We got some books we're going to throw down with some Hunger of the Gods and talk a little Mistborn maybe. But you finished a pretty big tome, Words of Radiance,
Yes.
so we're going to be talking about, probably get into some spoilers of the Hunger of the Gods, which is a new book that came out this year, and Words of Radiance, which came up 2018, I think, maybe a little earlier than that. And we'll get caught up with some Destiny 2. Looks like you're playing Shadow of Mordor. Uh, I'm still chugging along in Witcher 3. There's some Witcher 3 or some Witcher talk been going on, so that's pretty cool. And I did pick up Yakuza Judgment. And then we'll talk about some House of the Dragon, some TV we've been watching. So man, I don't know. I feel like we always start with video games, but my video games is kind of boring. Um,
Yeah. Let's get those out of the way here.
all right.
I I finished Destiny 2, the Witch Queen.
Mm.
I finished the campaign for the Witch Queen. Man, I really liked all of that content. The kind of last couple, I guess, missions or levels of that are really good, really fun. Just kind of some crazy set pieces and
Hmm.
just a really strong like first person shooter campaign, from like the music to the levels to the just the design. It's just really strong. uh and I know I've just been saying that for the past 4 weeks,
Yeah.
as I've been playing my way through it. um but there's just so much to that game, and I think Bungie has done a really good job of, or a better job, I wouldn't say a really good job, a better job than they were in previous years of kind of separating out all that that game is, because there's so much that I just haven't even touched. I haven't done any of the Crucible, which is like the multiplayer, or the Vanguard, which is like the PvE.
Mm.
And there's just all this other stuff that I haven't even touched, and that's okay. I was
Is
able to get in and play the Witch Queen and play the expansion and do some of the little like live events that pop up, are always kind of fun to do. But there's all this other stuff that you can do. Um, and it does a pretty cool thing at the end of the Witch Queen. You kind of go back to one of the main NPCs, and it's like, okay, you finished this, but like there's more to the story. Like there's more little side missions you can go do, to kind of keep looking into this mystery,
mm.
of kind of where that story sort of leaves off, which I think is pretty cool. A lot of depth there for me to continue to kind of go through. Um,
Is
which
it
which is
all
really good.
like after the fact, or is it stuff that you could have done during the campaign?
That specific stuff is kind of after the fact. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna keep playing that game. Kind of just, whenever I'm not playing something else, I'll load that up and
Hmm.
play some missions. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is you can just load it up and play some missions. There's always missions to do, and it's fun to do that.
Hmm.
I'm not like, so dedicated to it that I'm like trying to get all the seasonal stuff, or I gotta play it, to get all the unlocks and do all this. That's not where I'm at with that. But that's there if you want to
Right.
do that. If you're that person, they're making that there for you. Um, so I think that's going to be kind of my kind of standby game for a little while. Um, and yes, so I did play a little Shadow of Mordor, 2014's Shadow of Mordor.
Steam
uh,
sales
Steam
got you, didn't they?
Steam sales got me. Yeah, I've never played either one of those games, Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War, I think is the other one.
Yes.
Um, Never played either one of those. Heard great things about that first one. People seemed a little lukewarm on the second one. Uh,
Yeah, and I can get into why that is, but
but yeah, both they had both games on Steam with like most of their expansions for like $10, and I was like, okay, like if I get, even if I don't beat it, that's a pretty small price to pay to have what is supposed to be a pretty good game.
and you're
Um,
like you're in a Lord of the Rings mood right now, watching
yeah,
the
like I'm
show.
in
So
I'm in Lord of the Rings mood. I'm thinking about maybe reading the books, so and those, I think, from talking to people at work that the games actually have quite a bit of lore in them. Yeah, I played about the first hour and a half of Shadow of Mordor. Um, it's really weird to play a game that old.
Yeah.
2014. The controls are kind of clunky, like not what you'd expect from like a third-person action game now.
And I'm assuming like the fighting isn't fluid like we're used to now, where like
Dude, you know what? I kind of like it. Like that it's kind of that old Batman
yeah.
combat of like just
Oh,
X
right.
X
That's
X
right.
X and
Yeah.
then Y.
Mhm.
Like you feel like a badass. Like you're right
Yeah.
off the bat like just fucking up orcs. Um and I like all the nemesis stuff that's happening.
Mhm.
I'm kind of just scratching that surface now.
Right.
Um but just like the way the map works and like the POV on the character is really tight.
Mhm.
And I feel like now like the cameras are much more zoomed back from like behind the back of the
Right.
third person perspective, and this one is like super tight, and that's just kind of the way that
Almost
was,
like almost like Gears of
8
War
years ago.
style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not quite that far, but yeah,
Okay.
much tighter than something like The Witcher. And maybe it's adjustable. I haven't did it yet, but I'll probably keep playing that for sure. And
I
we'll see how
really
that.
liked that game.
Yeah,
I think I played it close to when it came out, and yeah, it was. I mean, that was like a lot of people's game of the year. I think
yeah.
that was a slow year
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like really big releases, but I think even like going up against some really really good games that would have been on a lot of people's top 10. It was really fun. I think the issue with
Yeah.
Shadow of War is it expanded on it so much and made it bloated that people were
Uh,
kind of turned off on it. So I think there's some people that really like it that were wanting more, but I don't think Shadow of Mordor really needed that.
right,
So
right. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna keep playing that. I don't really have anything else that I'm looking forward to other than maybe the new COD
mhm.
when that comes out here in a few weeks. Um,
Man, just think
yeah,
like if everything goes through, like that'll be on Game Pass.
yeah,
That's just
yeah,
wild, you know?
yeah. No kidding.
And
Yeah,
like now, like as much as you've told me to just go and play that Modern
yeah.
Warfare, I'm kind of being an asshole about it. I'm just like, I'm going to wait. Like the $75 billion, like let them, duke that out. I'll play that when it comes to Game Pass whenever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, no, I'm still going through The Witcher 3. I'm not in Skellig yet. I said I would mainline this game. I'm actually going through some of the side stuff because there's a lot of main story missions.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so especially in Novigrad. So I'm just kind of plucking through those. I just did the blanking on her name, but Dandelion's, I guess, girlfriend.
Oh,
We did the play. And
yep.
I'm playing,
That's a special moment
yeah.
in that
So,
game.
so I'm playing this game where I'm gonna romance everyone. Any sort of like if there's a hint of like Geralt, like I could like have a relationship with him. Priscilla, is that her name? Priscilla?
Priscilla. Yeah.
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 So like there were moments where she was just like, "Hey, can I hang out with you, Geralt?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's hang out." Like I'm
Yeah.
going to bone down on any character that I can
She is
because
super attractive in that game. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
I will say, um, be careful trying to romance everybody because there are two characters that you can, multiple characters you can romance, but there's two of them that are kind of the main romances.
which
And if you
is
try to play, which is Triss and
Triss and
Yennefer,
Yennefer, right?
I don't want to spoil it, but bad things will happen if you try to do play both sides there.
Oh, okay. Even
Yeah,
between
which
them
might
two?
actually, yes, which actually might be funny.
Okay.
But it'll be like finite. Like you won't be able to fix the problem.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, which is part of the fun of that game.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so you did the play where she sing or Geralt.
I
Did you
I
get the
did choose her. So there's
okay?
the older lady that you could have as the lead, but I chose Priscilla to be the lead in the
Okay.
play.
So she did their little concert song thing.
Mhm.
Okay. Yep, and Geralt like walks into the little pub. That's a really, for me, that was when that game really became like more than just a game.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
whoa, like there's
They're
all these
really.
characters.
Yes.
Like,
Yep. Yep.
it's
Yep.
a really strong story, and you start to learn the story of that shitty guy. Uh, what is that guy's name in Novigrad? Um,
The guy that you're hanging out with in the bathhouse.
he's like a little tweaker. No, that's Dykstra. He's
Yeah.
a
Right. Okay.
he's a this guy's like a little meth head guy. Um, I can't remember his
Oh,
name.
I'm terrible with
Um,
names, man.
so what else has happened with Priscilla here recently?
That's really been it so
Okay.
far. I have more story missions to do with her, I believe.
Yes.
But I haven't. It's like the options there. I just haven't. Like that's the last thing I did was that. I think I'm level 13. I think that's where I'm
Okay.
at. Again, I'm probably going to slow down a little bit because, with CD Projekt Red, they announced a bunch of new stuff. One of the things was, hey, we're still on track to release this year. They haven't committed to a release date, but I'm probably going to slow down a little bit because I do want to play the majority of that game in whatever like upscale version that they're about to release. I was kind of
Right.
wanting to get to a point to where I was, which I think I was around level 20. So I'm getting close. I'll probably get to that point and stop until that release comes out.
Yeah.
So,
So the character I was thinking about, his name is Horson Jr.
oh
I
yeah,
don't think you
Junior. No, yeah, but yep,
Junior.
yep, yep, yep,
Okay.
yep.
Keep
He
keep
just goes
keep
by Junior in the game
yeah,
a lot.
Junior. Yeah. So keep pushing down anything you can do with Priscilla with that storyline.
Okay.
Some shit fucking goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Uh,
man, I'm excited. Yeah.
so I also picked up Yakuza Judgment.
Okay.
Yakuza was in the news quite a bit too with all their new games, and I seen that there was there's a series I haven't touched. I've played 6 of those games, and there's this spin-off that they've only done 2 of them, and I don't think they're doing any more because there's like a likeness. There's a whole thing about
Yep.
the main actor of that game, and it doesn't look like he's going to license his likeness to that anymore. I will say this game it's different. It's the same fighting style as like the Yakuza mainline games and not the Like a Dragon that they're going towards. It's really slow. And I don't like actually how his like main fighting stance. Now, the main point of the game is to unlock like new abilities and stuff. But he has this like really weird thing that's kind of driving me crazy where you're mashing X X X X X and then like you can throw in different button combinations. And really
Right.
you would think like, okay, I'm hitting X X X X, so it'd be like boom, 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 boom. He has this weird thing where he like strikes twice and then pauses.
Mm.
And enemies fucking hit me every time. And so I'm just like, I'm just not under it's different.
Like a timing thing.
Maybe it is a timing thing, but they didn't really explain that. They just showed like 4 X's and a Y, like just hammer these out. But he like palm heel strikes twice, and then he pauses for just a beat too long where characters come in and just hit me every time. So I'm like, I don't have this quite right yet.
Yeah.
It's a very detective heavy game, so there are moments where you are like using a drone to kind of scan a scene. You are like almost like cyberpunk style, like watching clips and choosing dialogue options. So it kind of forces you can't really just like skip the story, because there's, as conversations are happening, you're using clues, and it'll be like a dial of like, okay, do you want this option, or this option, and you have to kind of choose the right one. You get experience if you do choose the right one. So it seems fine. I'll probably keep playing it. It'll probably be another slow one. The big game that I want to play this year is Persona. It's one of those RPGs I've never played, and you obviously, like, if you know anything about video games, you hear about Persona and just like this, it's like one of those I haven't dove into yet. So Persona 5 comes out October 18th, I think. We might be podcasting like the day as that releases. But I do want to check that out. So that comes with the Game Pass, and it's supposed to be like an enhanced version. It's Persona 5 Royale or whatever. Um,
Mm, mm.
I've downloaded Dig, Dig, Dig. I downloaded Dig. Shovel Knight Dig. I downloaded
Okay.
Shovel Knight Dig. I've not played it yet. That's on Apple Arcade. But I do have some traveling coming up, so I will be away from an
Ah,
Xbox. I have my Backbone controller with me, so we'll see if I can. I might try a little bit of that streaming stuff again, see if that's gotten any better on hotel Wi-Fi. But we shall see. That's all I
okay.
got. That's all I got with the games.
All right.
How's your TV going? How's Rings of Power?
Rings of Power is 6 episodes in. I I think there's two left. I think it's an 8 episode deal. Um, I'll say after the fifth episode, I was pretty down.
Hmm.
Um, because just nothing was happening. Like for the last like episodes 3, 4, and 5, I feel like it's trying to do too much. Like
Hmm.
it's trying to follow these like 5 storylines, and every time I start to care about like a specific story, it cuts to the other one. And then I start caring about that one, then it cuts to the other one. Like it's trying to do the Game of Thrones like seasons like 2 through 5, where it's following all these different duos. Like it's following like Sansa and the Hound, and then it's following the Hound and Arya, and then it's following Jon and the Night's Watch, and then there's all the Lannister shit, and then there's Tyrion and all that stuff. Like it's trying to do that, but like I don't care about any of these people yet.
Oh, right.
Like it's trying to do that right off the bat, and I just don't like. Just nothing's happening.
Which really, season 1 of Game of Thrones was like mostly in Winterfell and King's Landing.
Yes, yes,
So you really got
and
attached to those characters. So I could see that being an issue. I kind of had that issue
yeah,
with the Shadow of the Gods. Because
yeah,
really, like with a 600-page book, you're only like 200 pages with these characters. Those are short. Those are short books.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So Rings of Power, the 6th episode though, kind of goes full fucking Peter Jackson. It stays with one point of view. There's a big battle.
Mm.
Um, I would say it's just okay.
Oh.
I didn't think it was anything like crazy good. It was just okay. Um, we'll see how they end this up. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. There's definitely some stuff in the 4th and 5th episodes that are like a little too like annoying, like
Mm.
from a just from like a storytelling standpoint. Um, I don't know. It's without spoiling it. It's just like a little too convenient. In some, which I get is like movie magic, right?
Right.
Like
Sure.
people have to end up like where they need to be for like the thing to happen, and that's okay. And like same way in books. Um, but this is a little bit too like a little more on the nose with some of that stuff. Like, uh, yeah.
That's like lazy,
So
right? Does that come across a little lazy?
yeah, I feel like it's just them trying to do too much at once. I think the individual stories are interesting, but the way the show is edited, it just keeps bouncing around, and it's like I
Mm.
I can't get enough time with one thing to really care about it, and then nothing happens with it. You spend 15 minutes in a whole episode with one storyline, and it's like, well, nothing happened with those guys, and
Right.
nothing happened with these other people, and one little thing happened with this other outfit, but nothing crazy. Or if it did, it just introduced some new mystery that it's not going to explain yet.
Yeah, it has like pacing
Um,
issues. I felt like the
yeah,
Wheel of Time had that too. That first episode, there's like
yes,
that whole village, the Trollocs or whatever the fuck they're called, like
yep,
starts murdering all those people, and I'm just like, should I care? Fuck them people.
hmm
Like,
yeah,
not knowing that half of them are like main characters, but I'm just like, who gives a shit? Like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't care. Let the Trollocs eat, man. They're hungry. you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only TV that I've watched this week. I'm kind of waiting on House of the Dragon to like get completely done, and then I'll just watch it. I'll just
Right.
binge it. Um and then I still need to watch Edge Runner. I haven't done that yet.
I've watched one more episode of it, and it is still fantastic, man. It's
Man,
really
okay.
good.
I did try to load up Cyberpunk again. I
Mm.
thought about before I did Mordor. Just does
I
not
think
run
they
well
just
on
had
my
like a
computer.
1.6.
They did. I did the update. I like loaded it up. I even went through the like settings and like lowered them down, and I got like down in like Night City proper, and like that game was just like for some reason it was running at like 10 frames a second. I was like, nope, nope, not doing this. I don't know what
Wow.
the problem is, but that game is still broken
Oh my
in some
gosh.
ways. So
Resident Evil 2
yeah,
working for you yet?
I haven't tried that one in a while. I need to boot it back up. That's a
Yeah,
bummer. We need to finish that. Yeah,
we
yeah,
do.
yeah.
At least before Resident Evil 4 comes out. Resident Evil
Right.
3,
Yeah.
I've heard, is just okay. So
Yeah.
maybe that's one that we can skip. Um, Speaking of just okay, I haven't quite finished this yet, but man, Predator 2. Have you watched it before?
Yes, a long time ago.
Okay,
Not in a while. I haven't. We talked about it, and then we missed it last week, and I totally
right.
forgot to watch it this week. Yeah.
So, dude, like, so again, not knowing anything about these movies, I thought fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger was in this,
Oh no
and
no no. Yeah.
no, and then I thought like it was Arnold Schwarzenegger and like Danny Glover or Danny
No.
Glover.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was like them. So like I'm an hour and a half in. I'm just like I've got fucking Danny Glover and I've got a shitty Bill Paxton. Bill
Yep.
Paxton fucking sucks in this movie. He's like just such a he's such an asshole and
Yeah.
he's just filthy and it just I don't know, he comes across like such a tool. I hate him. And then fucking Gary Busey's in it. Gary Busey's like the
Yeah.
bad guy. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, man, they pulled out like all sorts of 90s people, but really this movie's just not good. Like
It's a B movie, man.
it
It's one of those
really
B movies.
is. And it's just like Predator, the first Predator was awesome. Like how?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
know it had to make a money. Like why would they do this?
So like the way I think about Predator 2 is the same way I think about Super Mario uh uh Smash Brothers on like GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are people
Mm.
that that's all they do is they get out that Wavebird, that fucking GameCube controller,
Yeah.
and like that's their whole life is Smash Brothers
Yeah.
on GameCube. Like there are people that will tell you that Predator 2 is better than the original Predator
Fuck that.
because they just love that fucking B movie esque bullshit. And it's like, no, just like those Smash Brothers people, you're wrong. That's not the best game in the world. It's just an okay game.
There's
But
no way that people think Predator
oh,
2.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I know them. Yes. Yes. They're
God,
insane people.
that is insane.
Yeah.
So I only have like 30 minutes left. There's not a lot of Predator in it. It's all about fucking fighting in the city, like gangs and
Mhm.
shit. And I'm just like, there just so happens to be a Predator there. Like,
Yep.
it's almost like they wrote another movie and they were just like, we have the rights to Predator. Just fucking shove Predator in there. And they try to have like, I mean, Get to the Choppa. They try to have those lines in it and they're just so bad. Like, it's a bummer compared to the first movie and Prey. Like I know Prey was much later, but dude, it is
Yep.
just. So I'm hearing Predators and the Predators good, so I'm hoping. But shit, this is.
Yeah.
It's not hitting it. It's just not. It's not doing it for me. Like I'm not one that appreciates bad TV because it's bad TV. Like I'm just. I don't know. It's just that stuff's just not for me. I'll finish that. I
Yeah.
need to finish it tomorrow, but
It's definitely a B movie. Like I feel like I feel like it bombed at theaters for some reason. Let me look it up here.
yeah. Well, when you look
Um
that up, let me just say We started Lego Masters. So remember last year when we did the whole bet thing where we pulled teams out of a hat as a family, the four of
Ah,
us. So we're doing that again this year cuz Lego Masters just aired. So the last episode was just last week. And it was weird cuz you can tell like they filmed it maybe around Jurassic World Dominion's release because it
okay.
was all about Jurassic World Dominion, and like Chris Pratt was even on there,
Yeah.
which they've never gotten like a movie star as big as like Chris Pratt. I mean, it's Will Arnett that hosts the thing, but it was just funny to like see him on there.
Wait,
And
isn't wait a minute. Isn't Chris Pratt the Lego movie guy?
yes,
Okay.
you would think that he would make the most
Yeah.
sense, but they have the guy that voices the Lego Batman
Right, yeah.
be the host. But yeah, like it took 3 seasons for Chris Pratt to finally be like, "Hey, I'll show up," and he was really awkward through the whole thing. Um, but yeah, so I have a team down already. My wife has a team down already, so the kids are definitely winning right now. So it
Hmm.
like makes it interesting, teaching my kids about gambling a little early, like get them in there and do that a little early. Um, we're still watching She-Hulk. I'm looking forward to the next episode. House of the Dragon continues to be very strange and good, and it's do you know anything about it? Like
I know there's a lot of incest now.
there's a lot of
Uh,
incest.
and I saw a really great TikTok of all these. It was like, what? He's like, here's the state of fantasy TV today. All the Rings of Power people are mad because Rings of Power is not Tolkien-y enough. And all of the House of the Dragon people are happy because they got more incest this week.
Yeah.
And
Um
it's just like the book, or whatever.
so
Yeah.
do you know like there's a time hop that
Yeah,
happens?
yeah, I did
Okay,
know that.
okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Um which it's weird. It makes me want to read the book cuz I have no interest in reading Game of Thrones.
Right.
I'm not quite ready to open like I'm not if it doesn't finish, I don't want to read it. But the Rings of Power or the Fire and Blood or whatever the book is called that it's based off
Yeah.
of.
Fire
Like
and
that's
Blood.
just
Yep.
kind of like a standalone thing, it's just about like 300
Yes.
years or whatever before. I'm interested cuz I want to know how he writes. I want to read like a George R. R. Martin book, but I don't want to read Game of Thrones. And I know he has other stuff to read, but I think once this season ends, like if I can find some time next year outside of all the freaking Brandon Sanderson and all the other series I'm into, I might want to try and pick that up. I think that would be a good one to read.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
wonder how long it is.
had Predator. It's like 800 pages.
Really.
It's not one of those tome like Brandon Sanderson Stormlight tomes, but
Yeah.
it seems manageable. I seen it at a freaking Costco.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, it was so like I want a big book. You know how they'll sell like those books that are like a little bit bigger than your hand and the print is really small and they're paperback, but they're just really small books and they're just very condensed. Like you could throw it in your back pocket.
Yeah,
Um
mine got the full Mistborn era 1 series in books like that. Yeah.
really? I can't
Yep.
read that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. That's
I
just too
I could
small.
yeah, I couldn't get the big hardbacks. I like the big hardbacks. That's what I like.
Sure.
Um I couldn't find those, so I just bought those at like a Barnes and
Uh
Noble. They're not too bad, but that's yeah, the portability of them is nice.
that
Yeah.
true. Yeah. So what's our Predator 2 number?
Oh boy. So Predator 2 came out in a rough and had some rough competition. Came out the same like week as Dances with Wolves, which
Oh,
was
okay.
one of the biggest fucking films of the 90s. Three Men and a Little Lady, which was
Okay.
also a huge fucking movie with Ted Danson and Tom Selleck, and then Rocky 5.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. So bad timing. Which Rocky 5 was not a great movie. Rocky 4 I think was the last really good Rocky. Oh, and Home Alone came out the same week as
Dude, are you
Predator
serious?
2.
God.
Yeah, bad timing for Predator 2. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Interesting.
yep.
Okay.
Crazy.
Okay. Where are we at here? We're at 30 minutes. We got to talk, man.
We got to talk.
We got to talk about
A
some
lot of
books.
books.
Why don't you start? Let's talk about some Words of Radiance. It's been a few
Oh man.
years since I've read this, so I'm probably
Yeah.
fuzzy on some stuff, but I just remember
Oh man.
that final battle, man. All like it just the fucking I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Sun Villano. Why am I?
Zeth.
Yeah,
Zeth.
Zeph.
Yeah,
And
Zeth.
then Moash and all that shit. I was just like,
Yeah, that book, man, it like I think last podcast I was saying that Kaladin had just got thrown in jail.
mm-hmm,
Because he had kind of publicly challenged Amaram after helping Adolin in one of the duels where he kind of got what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of got swindled. Ended up fighting like
mm-hmm,
4 shard bearers instead of
yeah,
2. And Kaladin ends up helping him. Kaladin gets thrown in jail. Has this whole thing with Moash where Moash wants to assassinate Elhokar, the king.
right,
And Kaladin's kind of trying to manage that, and he ends up losing losing his spren that
mm-hmm,
gives him his abilities because he's essentially breaking his oaths because he's starting to think that maybe Moash is right,
right,
and so he's got this arc where he's trying to figure all that out and figure out what am I doing wrong, what's the right thing to do here, um, while the fucking Parshendi are getting ready to just totally fuck shit up. Um, and you've got all these characters coming together now in like a big way that were kind of all separated in the first book with Shallan and Adolin and Navani and all these characters, Dalinar, they're all together now, you know.
mm-hmm,
Um, I still contend that the best parts of these books are the wit parts. They're by
mm,
far my favorite parts of the books because they get very philosophical
mm-hmm,
in a very lighthearted way,
yes.
and it's such a those books get very serious and very political,
And
and
then
Wit
here
just kind of
comes,
comes in, and Wit just kind of comes in as like this
it's like a
just this light
jester
like this,
almost.
yeah, like a Wit, yeah, like
Yeah.
he comes in with this very lighthearted, but also like he knows more about what's going on than everybody else, um, which as the reader, but they don't really know as the characters. And so, Wit comes like they're all just tied up in like this world-ending thing, and Wit's just like, you guys really care what color people's eyes are? Like that's so silly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right. Yeah.
and, like all that stuff. And I still contend that that's some of the best parts of those books. Um, but yeah, man, fucking just all of that last like push, like to go try to find the Parshendi and fight the Parshendi, and I ended up being right. There was a storm that blew the other way called the Everstorm. I ended up being right about that,
Mm-hmm.
which totally fucks up their whole deal. Um, fucking Dalinar bonds the Stormfather as his spren. So he's a fucking Radiant.
You get a lot of that in book 3.
Yeah, Shallan is a Radiant, obviously.
Yeah.
Kaladin is a Radiant, and they all kind of come out of the of the woods, so to speak. Of like, nope, I'm a fucking crazy magic person, whereas they were all hiding it up until that point. Um, Shallan fucking takes everybody through a fucking
Oh,
teleporter, like an oath gate.
okay. I was like,
Um,
yeah, the oath. I didn't know if
yeah,
I couldn't remember
yeah,
if they like had it named yet or not because
yeah.
there's
She takes everybody through this oath gate, and like everybody's just totally fucked, and she barely gets them through there. And then
so,
Kaladin and Zeth have
so
this crazy ass battle
yes, yep.
through all the storms, and like Kaladin finally says the last ideals and turns Syl into a shard blade, and she can like transform into like a shield or a spear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that whole battle was so awesome. Um, Yeah, it was just a really, really crazy ending of that book, and just how it all pulled together. And then fucking Adolin kills Sadius, just walking down the hall, just totally caught me off guard.
Yep.
Like Sadius, gets taken through the Oath Gate and they're at Urithiru, and Adolin's just like, you know what, motherfucker, I've had enough of your bullshit, and just fucking stabs him,
Yep.
and like then throws Oathbringer like out the fucking window. I was like laughing out loud at that. He like throws his dad's old shard blade out the window. Doesn't end up saying what happens with that fucking thing. And it seems like he got away without anybody knowing he killed Sadius. Maybe. So then, Kaladin comes out, and it's like, oh, well, Dalinar's kind of the leader of all the Radiants now.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, at the very end, Wit is just, the last chapter is Wit, and he's just sitting on a rock talking to himself. And he's like, I'm waiting for this person. Fucking Yasna Kholin comes out of Shadesmar. She's been there the whole fucking time. She didn't die on the boat. And she's obviously a Radiant. So, yeah, just absolutely insane. There was so many, and then Zeth's not dead. Kaladin thinks Zeth is dead. Fucking unbods his shard blade, takes his fucking shard blade, and then Nalan, one of the Herald of Justice, comes and saves Zeth.
Yep.
And kind of takes him under his wing. And yeah, the ending of that whole book is bananas. Absolutely bananas.
So, okay, so book 3 then starts like book 2 did. Ground running,
Right.
Boom, let's fucking go. Kaladin, I don't think you know what he's doing. He's on a mission at this point, and he goes and does this shit, and man, it just slows down. So, like, be prepared. Book 3, it's pretty slow. It's a good book, and what really got me through that was just how well written it is. I love the character banter. Fucking Yasna is she's so well written. She's going through all of her shit in that book, where she's learning more and more about her powers. They really build on that. They build out. I don't want to get too into it, but I'm just saying, like, the book is slow. It focuses more on the politics, a lot of the world building stuff. A lot of stuff happens. It lost my interest at first because I was kind of burned out. I just needed to take a break. I shouldn't have jumped straight into it like I did. But that when I finally got through it, I was like really happy. I think I still like. I think I like it more than the Way of Kings. But it is just a little slower.
Yeah, there's so much to those books. They're just so big.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some really fantastic writing in there. And actually, one of my favorite little storylines in few chapters is the couple of chapters where Shallan and Kaladin are stuck
in the Shattered Plains.
In the Shattered Plains after
and
they
the
fall through
chasms.
the bridge.
Yes. Yep.
Like when they're just alone together, that some of that writing back and forth, and then seeing it from both perspectives, because he switches perspectives. Like you'll see Kaladin's perspective and then see Shallan's perspective, and then the two different narrations and like the audiobook are really good during that little part. Yeah, man, there's a specific chapter that I need to go back to that I listened to. I think it was chapter 67, where there was like 10 like quotes that I want to go back and highlight. And it was a conversation between Dalinar and Navani that was just like, oh man, this is some fucking good shit, Yeah.
That's why I like reading on a Kindle, because you can see when like a lot of people highlight stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that in a lot of Brandon Sanderson books, but
yeah. So I finished Words of Radiance and I went right into Edgedancer, which is the novella between Words of Radiance and Oathbringer, books 2 and 3. I finished Edgedancer today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Blew right through that. So Edgedancer is about Lift, who is an interlude character in Words of Radiance. What a fantastic book. Lift is this like 13-year-old girl who has this like very like 13-year-old like tomboy like kind of sense of humor and like view on life. And after reading Words of Radiance, it was like such the palate cleanser
Yeah.
of coming in and just like this girl that has this huge, amount of uh, powers, put onto her because she's a radiant, and she just don't give a fuck. Like she doesn't understand any of it, and like her interaction with her and her spren and the way she interacts with other people, fantastic,
Reminds me of
absolutely
Vin a little bit,
fantastic.
you know? Where Vin like has all this power, but she really only knows
Yes,
about her luck. At least
yes,
right where I'm at. I'm only 20
yes.
something percent into it.
Yeah,
So
that'll
it's a little,
change.
yeah. Oh, I'm
That'll
sure.
change. Yeah. When she meets, has she met Kelsier yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that'll start to change once he starts to explain to her what's going on.
I'm at the
Um.
end of like part 1. Like
Okay.
as
Okay.
I was listening to it, just like end of part 1, I stopped it right there. So
Okay. Okay. I gotta read a line from the end of Edge Dancer here.
let's do it.
From the postscript. So yeah. So in Edge Dancer, so I just said Milan, the Herald of Justice. He's the guy that saves Zeth. He's in Edge Dancer.
Mm.
Lift basically he's darkness. He's the bad guy in Edge Dancer, and Lift and like Seth and those two other Radiants are running around with this guy, the Herald, and yeah, yeah,
Big characters in book 3.
big, yeah,
So they'll come back around.
yeah. So there's this the postscript. So like Brandon Sanderson's postscript of Edge Dancer. There was a really good line in here. Um, let's see here. So in Words of Radiance, she said she's been 10 for 3 years, basically as a
Oh,
joke.
that's
So
yeah, right.
Lift says she's 10 because she can only count to 10 because she has 10 fingers,
Hmm.
right? And she feels like she doesn't age anymore because of her powers, right? Which is actually not true, but she has good reason to think that. Which I thought was just that sentence is a very like interesting look into like her psychology of she thinks she's not aging anymore, but she is, right? But because she has this power that she doesn't understand, she doesn't think she is, and just getting this like behind the scenes into her psyche and kind of understanding how she views herself is both kind of endearing and cute and also kind of sad. Like there's some kind of sad parts of that book with like orphans and things like that because she's an orphan. And there there's some interesting kind of stuff and heavy stuff in a very lighthearted little novel that kind of hits pretty hard. Um, but the last part of this postscript is Brandon Sanderson saying the original plan for this novella was for it to be 18,000 words. It ended up at around 40,000. Ah, well, that just happens sometimes. And then parentheses, particularly when you are me.
That's funny.
That was like that's the last thing in this book, and I was just like, what a perfect way to end that book, with him giving this little quip about, yeah, I
And how do
fucking
you just
overwrote this book.
plan to write
Yeah,
18,000 words?
yeah, yeah,
Like, I've got enough in my head that I could probably write about 18,000 words. How do you come up with
yeah.
that?
And I feel like this is Edge Dancer is a perfect example of what sets him apart, I think, from other fantasy writers. You have these mainline books that are 1,000 pages, 1,200 pages, 1,400 pages,
Hmm.
and there's still a whole small novel worth of stuff that he couldn't fit in there.
Right.
And it's good. Like it's good backstory for a character that he only talks about for one little
Well,
chapter
right.
in Words of Radiance, this Lift character. And then he took her and wrote a whole book, tied it into the universe, and actually kind of helps explain like she already has a fucking shard blade and she's 13 years old. Like Kaladin had to go through hell and high water to get a
Right.
fucking shard blade and almost die, to get a shard blade. Um, uh, there's just a lot of nuance there that he supplied in just this one book. And honestly, the Skyward novellas are the same way.
Right.
You know, you have the mainline Skyward books, and then those three novellas that they add so much to that story.
Mm-hmm.
That I if you went right from Words of Radiance into Oathbringer, I feel like you're missing out, like not reading about
Right.
Lift and understanding Lift. Um, yeah, I really liked
Yeah,
Oathbringer.
it's definitely one of those things where um I don't think this is a spoiler, but you know, Lift gets introduced into Oathbringer,
Right. Yeah.
and yeah, I think having a little bit more of her backstory like makes you appreciate that character more.
and, and like I can't wait for a conversation between Lift and Dalinar. Like I like just her total attitude, like
Yep.
is hilarious. Like there's a great conversation in there she's having with a scribe that she describes as like Miss Fatty Pants or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she says to the scribe, and she's like, "Yeah, you probably don't understand much because you don't get out of the office very, you know, you don't get up and around very much." Like basically saying like you're fat. And then everybody's just like, this whole book is Lift saying things, and then other people doing eye rolls, and it's just
And it's just like, how do you come up with
I
that?
have
Like
no
to
idea.
explain things that way. And I feel that way about John Gwynn too. Like reading
Mm-hmm.
The Hunger of the Gods, like just the way that he explains things is, I mean, calling your brain a fucking thought cage, like just little things like that is
Yeah,
just like, that's so cool that you came up with something that we talk about all the time, but
yeah.
now I'm gonna call it my thought cage. You know. Oh man, you're gonna
Yeah,
love
yeah.
Oathbringer. It's
Oh man,
good.
yeah, I'm excited.
So
Yeah.
are you? So you're taking a break?
I might. We'll see. I
Okay,
might go right into it and just keep on keeping on.
you'll be caught up with me then.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll read Oathbringer along with something else at the same time. Since
Hmm.
now I'm kind of in it, like I understand what's going on.
Right.
Um, yeah, we'll see. Tell me about Mistborn then. What's going on there?
Not much. It's slow, man. That book I think starts out really slow. Like you learn that there's like, um, you know, he's trying to make a deal, and he's like playing a character. He's not like playing himself, and um, oh man. So then, hold on. So I listened to a little bit, and I'm actually reading it. So I'm trying to like catch up. I want to be like, because as I was like doing like sanding, I was listening to it, but also like paying attention to the kids and stuff. So I know I missed stuff, but I have the actual book in, and so I think I'm only like 10 or 15% into that. But um, Kelsier and Vin are together. They just now got together. She's like getting beat up by the
Cayman.
Cayman, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
um, and they struck the deal with the people that are going to use their boats. Um, I just felt like those first 2 or 3 chapters were just kind of about that. That there's the epilogue, prologue.
Yeah, prologue.
That kind of like it talks about like the ash falling from the city, and it's just kind of like explaining a little bit. You know, he drinks the metals. So I think I'm starting to learn about that a little bit. It looks like it's not really gotten into like he talked about burning metals. I don't know what that means yet. Um, Vin seems really cool. You know, she's kind of just like lurking in the shadows, but she can take over people. Like they call it her luck, right? Is that what they call it? Yeah. So it's like so basically people are like, I'm not making this deal, and she can like tap into their brain a little bit, and they're just like, okay, I'll make the deal. Like I don't quite understand what that really means yet, and it seems like she can only do it a little bit. I don't understand like what is she like, why can't she do that all the time? And I'm sure it's like kind of how like a Stormlight is, where you have a light source and it's a finite amount of it. Um,
So yeah, so you will learn what that's all about.
I know I will. I'm just really
Once
early.
once you get there's so like Kelsier and man, what's the other guy's name?
Marsh.
Like no, the guy that's with Kelsier all the time. I forgot his name. Um, how did I forget that guy's name? Um, starts with a D, I think.
Uh,
Let's see.
yeah, I
Doxon.
was. Oh,
Doxon.
okay, yeah.
Kelsier and Doxon are kind of the two characters that are together. Like that's with Kelsier, that character. Um, there's a point in time when you're going to get to meet the rest of the team, that Kelsier has, uh, in a little shop, and
Hmm.
once that starts to happen, it starts to introduce more characters, and you start to get a feel for where the story's going to go.
I mean, they're going to
Because
overtake the Empire. Sounds like the final Empire.
yes, yeah, the Lord Ruler is this god entity that rules over the world, basically.
Right.
And he is very much like thought of and seen as a god, so a living god, and he's lived for thousands of years.
And they have talked a lot about the Ska, which are
Ska
like
are the
slaves.
slaves.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a very big. The Ska are a very big part of these books, especially this first one.
Mhm.
But the story itself kind of takes on a certain archetype once Kelsier introduces you to the team.
Okay.
It kind of it gets a little heisty, like
Hmm.
it's like a heist story, because he's kind of getting his team together, and Vin starts to learn more about what Kelsier's all about, and Kelsier sort of teaches Vin how to use her quote unquote luck.
Okay.
And it'll literally go through and explain what exactly it is she's doing, why she can only do it a little bit, um, and why she's a little bit different than everybody else, in a very specific way. Um, that I think that a way that I think you will like. I think you will end up liking once it explains that it's a magic system, basically.
Hmm.
Once it explains the magic system, I think you will like it.
Hmm.
Um, and then you can start to you can start to form some more attachments to a lot of those other characters that it starts to introduce. And it kind of takes that turn a little bit. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it because it seems just like right up my alley, and it's freaking a series that I need to get through. There's another series that I've kind of had my eye on. It's a book talk series. It's just one of those that keeps getting highlighted, and it's called Selena something, and it's a fantasy. They're shorter, so I'm thinking about like intertwining, like reading the Final Empire, and then check out one of those, and then go back to Ages, whatever the second book is called,
Hero of
Hero
Ages.
of Ages, yeah, and then kind of go back and forth. But those
So
wax,
if you'll notice during Mistborn, for each chapter is a little paragraph.
yes,
That's read from a different perspective, just like Stormlight Archive.
right, yeah,
Uh, and once uh, right now you don't know who that perspective is, um, but about 3/4 of the way through the book, it will reveal, not not intentionally, like it's not going to slap you across the face, but it will reveal to you who that is, and then you can
okay,
kind of think about all the shit that they've been saying, kind of like in Way of Kings, when you find out that all the death things that people are saying on the deathbeds is from Taravangian.
right,
God, that's another part of that Words Radiance we didn't even talk about.
mm-hmm.
Fucking Taravangian, but yeah, Mistborn does that same thing, and it does that through all three books.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
So you finished all. That's right. You finished all three. Are you gonna do
yep.
the Wax and Wayne as well?
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I'll definitely eventually read them. I got to see what happens. It's a big time jump from the last
Oh, okay.
Mistborn book. There's like Era 1 and Era 2. So yeah, I think I will. Yeah.
All right. So I finished probably what is my favorite book this year.
Okay.
And this is Hunger of the Gods. So full spoilers about this. That book, like, I can't believe I thought it was slow in parts, which I'm sure if I went back and read it, I'd be like, yeah, okay, it was a little slow, but my gosh, it is so visceral, and the way that it's John Gwynn, right? That's who writes these
Yes.
books. So just the way
Yeah.
that he explains how these characters like can like their animal instincts come out and they're actually morphing like a werewolf, like in a way, like where there's a boar person, and like he just explained a little bit like the tusks retract back in, and it's like just as descriptive as this guy writes, like you're just you can visualize like what these
Yeah.
people look like, and it's like it's very very unsettling. Like Leaf Rika, she's the one that like they do a really good job with her, but I love like how Orca is depicted and just how they explain just her face just like morphing into a wolf and stuff is just like, oh my gosh, Rich, it's very just it's unnerving. And
Yes.
um Elvar's story fucking went places, and you told me it would.
Yep.
And
Yep.
there's a scene where she like leaves her dad in the middle of the first book and kind of is like, okay, I'm going on my own journey now. And I loved like her and Orca together. They like fucking body like they're like buddies now, which is really really cool. And just I loved like Orca presenting herself to her. Like Elvar was like, you know, like this leader now. So she's kind of
Yes.
taken over, and she's like she's heard of Orca the
Skull
fucking
splitter.
the skull splitter. And yeah, so she's just like she immediately like trusts this girl, and that is not like Elvar at all. So I was just like, this is really cool. I love that like these characters are coming together. Fucking Elvar goes back to her dad, and her dad is sitting at the throne with her two brothers, and some shit gets said. A battle ensues. They like present their god or whatever, yeah,
Ulfrir.
Ulfrir, yeah. And because she's controlling like multiple gods at this point, like she's got all the thrall collars around them, and like yeah, so this big fight happens. This fucking berserker picks up the king and throws him at Ulfrir, and Ulfrir just fucking bites his ass and kills him. So then the oldest son is just like, shit, I'm king now. Let's fucking fuck shit up. Elvar just goes and stabs him through the throat.
Yep.
So then her younger brother is just like, oh shit, I'm king now. All hell Elvar. And I was at the gym on the elliptical fucking losing it. I mean, Rich, I was laughing, and I had to stop. It was so good. What a good, that's the one where I was just like, dude, this was fucking epic.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
There's
That
a
was,
similar like scene where the same thing happens with Queen Helka and like Guthvar, and like
uh,
she's got that little daughter that's kind of
Hawken
a
and her son.
yeah, her son. Yeah, like they're like they killed the queen, and then
Yep.
they're like, well, we got to go kill him, and then we got to go
Yep.
kill her, you know, because of like the hierarchy.
No,
Yeah, man.
I love the scene where she's just like, "Hey, we got to make a deal. We got to go after this person. Like, what are you going to offer up?" And he's just like, I like it was Varg, or no. Shit, who was that? Was just like, well, we're taking fucking Hawken, her son." And he's
That
just
was
like,
Glonir.
yeah, okay, yeah. So,
Yeah,
and and
Bloodsworn.
he and he was just like, no, don't take me. And Helka's just like, yeah, you can have it. And I was just like, oh my
Yeah,
god, like you
yeah.
just straight up gave up your son.
The Bloodsworn in this book are just at like have when they stole what is Glonir's wife's name? Uh the witch, the Sether witch. Uh
Gosh, there's so many characters. It's not Merc. It's
no, it's not Merc. That's a different thing. Yeah.
oh
Uh
god.
let's see. Hunger.
There's only 100 characters in this book.
Yeah. I can't remember her name. this book is not fancy enough to have like a
I
character sheet.
know. Yeah.
But anyway, his wife is a Sether witch, and that fucking that magic guy steals her, right? That's like with Queen Helka. What's that guy's name? I can't remember his name either. Um, the guy that puts the slug in Guthvar.
Oh shit.
The like the wizard guy. Yeah.
Oh my
Anyway,
God, Rich.
like
Yes.
the Bloodsworn, they're just like the Glowneer's like, listen, we're going to get my wife back. I don't give a fuck who is in between us. I'm a
Yep.
fucking bear. I'm gonna
Yep.
walk in wherever the fuck I want and do whatever the fuck I want. And Varg's just like, hell yeah, we are. And
Mhm.
Svik's just like, fuck yeah, we are. And they walk in there and they're just like, listen, we can do this two ways. You can either give me what I want, or we're just gonna fucking kill all of you.
Right.
That was such a cool scene. Uh, everything with Guthvar in that book, he is such a little
Oh my
piece of
God.
shit.
Yes, he
And
is.
he just lucks his way into not
Yeah.
being killed like 100 times. And the whole time he's just like, yeah, it's because I'm fucking awesome.
Right.
It's like, no,
Yep.
man, you fucking suck. You're a little
I
yeah.
love how they depict sex in this. Like, it's
Yes.
just like people are just like openly having sex. Like, they'll kind of go away a little bit, but like
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. Like, they'll poke fun at it a little bit, but just the way that they like kind of intertwine that is like, and it just brings humor to the book. Fucking Orca at the end, like, dude, I welled up when she finally got reunited with Brekka, and
Yep.
then fucking that kid started shouting. And what was really cool at that scene was then it switches to Bjor, and you see
Yes.
it from Bjor's side, and it's just like, then like from his side the fight starts, and like Orca's fucking doing her thing, and man, just that whole fight, like the fucking shit is like on fire, but she's still like, it seems like, okay, she's got Brekka, she's gonna be able to get away, but then Brekka is just like, hey, let's like rescue my friend, and just like, yes, let's rescue this friend, which is the son of the fucking other girl that they were like, okay, yes, we want him, and then just like, well, I've got this other friend, and then the other friend
Yep.
is just like with Lifrika, just like, no, your mom is a liar, because Lifrika
Right.
is brainwashing all of these kids into
Yep.
thinking like, your parents have lied to you. I'm going to help you release your power of like your animal instincts in you. And yeah, just like that happened, and then it switches. And I knew when it switched, I was just like, no, not the fucking Bjor, not him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and he was thinking like, oh, should I just let her go? Like, it's Orca, but nope, let's go fight. Gets their asses kicked, but then a fucking stupid spider
Fucking spiders.
bites
Man.
her.
Yep.
And man, that was just so upsetting. I was kind of like,
Yep.
fuck this book.
After all that, man, it just
After
punches you.
everything.
It just punches you right in the gut, man. Yeah.
And she throws
Yeah.
Brekka in the river. And it's just like,
Throws
fucking
them in the
go.
river. Yep.
Figure out life, man. I'm done.
Yep.
Fuck. Fuck that book.
Uh,
If I had one negative thing to say about it, it would be, there's probably, it's weird to say, there's probably too much fighting.
yeah, there is, especially in the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause there's a really good battle when Glowneer finally catches up to the prince who ends up with his wife, and the Bloodsworn fucking storm that like city or castle that they're
yeah,
holed
the
up
big
in,
castle, yes, yeah.
and they just fucking destroy everybody.
Yeah.
But like the interesting thing now is Varg. There's like multiple people that know Varg's name and like want him fucking dead.
Oh, he's with
And
Vol?
so, yeah, Vol. Vol is the name of the Glowneer's
Yeah.
wife. Yes. But yeah, there's like 2 or 3 different like bad guy characters that know Varg's name now that he's like pissed off, that are like gonna be out to fucking get him. Like Guthvar's one.
Yeah.
And then there's somebody else too that just like like his name comes up as from other characters like Varg. Yeah, I fucking know that guy. You know?
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's a fantastic book. There's supposed to be another book. I don't know when it's coming out. Uh, but man, what a great little two books.
Yep.
Not little, but great story, great writing. Really, really like puts you in that, like does a
Oh,
good job of like describe, like you said, describing things. You feel like you're there, you know.
like you're
Yeah.
watching these characters morph in your head. It's just strange. Like,
Yeah, Orca's just such a badass, man.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would almost want to like sit down, and I think it'd be fun to sit down and cast who should be those characters.
Yes.
That would be a fun little exercise.
I wanna give me the Bloodsworn, the TV show.
Yep.
Fucking right now.
And who would you cast? Like who?
Oh man.
Like who could be fucking Orca? I really have no idea.
It's gotta be like a freaking CrossFit chick or something. Like,
Oh yeah.
Orca's freaking big and muscular and
Yes.
like, yeah, it's gotta
They'd
be.
almost have to CGI her. Almost. Like she's that fucking to me,
Yeah.
she's just tree trunks for legs. And then yeah, just her morphing. I get like almost like Aloy vibes from her. If Aloy was thicker, you know.
A little bit, yeah. Or like a Lagertha from like Vikings, the Viking show.
See, I didn't watch that. My parents always tell me to watch that, but
she's kind of a badass. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But see, like watching The Northman, that show or that movie that like everyone fell in love with, I was just like, it doesn't have this. No, I need this. Yeah. Like now, I will judge every Viking thing ever. I'll never play Assassin's Creed, fucking whatever.
Valhalla. Yeah,
Valhalla. No, it won't live up to this. There's no way.
No.
It's so good, man. Day one, whatever this next book is, that's a day one for me. I have to know what is going on with these characters. And like, I hate it. When you told me that there are 5 perspectives from this book, I was like, fuck, man, I don't want more. I want more focus. But they get away with it because they all kind of start finally like intermingling with each other. And that kind of helps a little bit. God, I will think about that fucking king dying for a long time. Just that was so... Just that 4 pages of that was so funny, but serious. It was so good. What a hell of a book.
Yes. It's fantastic, man. It's fantastic.
So what else have I been reading? That's it. I think that's it. Selenica Ascends is that book that I was thinking of. It is it's a 4-book series. And it's just, I follow this one guy on TikTok and he's always recommending books, and it's one that's on my Goodreads, and it's at my library, and Libby told me it's available. So as soon as I'm done with Mistborn, I'll probably grab it. But
I don't know what I'm gonna read next. I don't know if I'm gonna go right into Oathbringer or maybe, I don't know.
I will say I would recommend take a break.
Yeah.
Take a little break.
Yeah, I can do that.
Let them hang out. You should read Red Rising.
You know, that's on the list. Yeah,
that's a fun story. That's a really fun story. It's different enough. You won't feel like it's science fiction. You won't really feel like you're, like it's just trapped in fantasy after fantasy.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to talk about out of the news out of this past couple weeks? I'm pretty excited to watch and rewatch and watch again this Mario trailer. I've wanted a Mario cartoon my entire life. I'm jealous that my kids get folders that have Mario on them, backpacks with Mario. I didn't get that shit growing up.
Really? Really?
No, they dude, my Walmart didn't have that.
Huh.
I didn't. There wasn't a ton of Nintendo merchandise out there. They were very guarded with their stuff. Now,
Huh. Yeah.
having Mario shirts, like I maybe had like a one option, like a Nintendo
Mhm.
logo or something like that.
Yeah.
And now it's like
Yeah.
all like my kids get all this cool, fun shit. Like I don't know, man. So Illumination, not a bad studio. I think I I what kills me is like people are already shitting on it. They haven't seen it. Fucking
Yeah.
Polygon today. So they post there's a screenshot of the movie poster and it's Mario looking towards the whatever the scene is. So you just get the backside of him. And fucking Polygon writes an article about how doesn't have a big enough ass. And I'm just like, what are we doing? What?
Yeah, man. That was today?
Yeah, today or yesterday I
Huh.
got posted. It
Great.
I mean, it looks like a fucking Mario movie. I don't know.
You know, I do remember seeing some Jeff Gersman Twitter about Mario's ass.
Oh, okay.
I
I
don't know if
didn't
he was
see
making
that.
fun of that. I don't know if he's making fun of that article or
He
oh
may have
yeah,
been.
Mamma Mia, Nintendo stole Mario's whole ass in upcoming movie.
You know what? The
Uh,
inner child in me just wants
tag
this.
the tagline for this story is "Sorry, Mario, your ass is in another castle."
God damn it.
Who's posting this stuff?
I don't know. Some intern probably.
What is happening? There's a lot of toads in this screenshot.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a POW barrel. Look at that POW barrel, man.
You know, I want this to be good. Rich, I kind of need
Yeah,
this movie to be
you
good.
kind of need this to be good.
I need this to be good,
I
okay?
I think you're gonna be sad.
Probably.
Who knows, man? Maybe it'll be really good, but
I
I
hope
don't know.
so.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Um, okay. So trailers tomorrow. We'll watch that probably 100 times.
Are they gonna have to delay Mario a whole year to re-CGI his ass like they did Sonic, which turned out to be a fantastic movie? Is somehow the Sonic movie going to be better than the Mario movie?
Probably.
Yeah.
Which is I was never a Sonic game fan. I had those games, but they didn't have the replay like those old Mario games. Um, I hope it's just as good as Sonic. You know, if it's just as good as Sonic,
Oh yeah,
that would
yeah.
be great. Um, but I'm
I think the thing that people need to remember is maybe this movie's not for adults.
yeah, it's not right.
Yeah.
But like, do kids care about Mario?
Yes.
I mean,
Even my kids care about Mario, and they've barely played a Mario game. Yeah.
what is it? What do they know him from?
It's just he's just everywhere, man. He's on everything. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's like Pikachu. Like my kids don't aren't into Pokemon, but they know who Pikachu is. They don't know
sure.
what he's about. They're like, that's fucking Pikachu. You know.
Yeah, and I guess we made the point that they know Sonic is a cartoon character, not a video game character.
Yes. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, my my 7-year-old is going as Halloween as Sonic.
Oh, you know what we're
Big,
so
big Sonic.
so last year we did a theme of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears and the Huntsman. And so my wife and I were bears and my daughter was Goldilocks and she basically like beat the shit out of us. So we were tied up and like covered in blood and like looked like we were dying. And then my son was the huntsman.
Yeah,
So that was my wife's decision. Just like, okay,
yeah.
like let's go with her thing. So this year is my daughter's decision. She wants to go as pieces of fruit, which is silly So
Okay.
she's gonna be an apple. I'm gonna be a
Banana.
no. My son will be a banana. I'm gonna be a an eggplant. My wife's gonna be a peach. But I'm all for this because these costumes are cheap. I mean,
Yeah,
they're super cheap. We're gonna look corny, but whatever. We'll be with friends and stuff. And then it seems like next year my son will pick anime characters, so we'll be a bunch of anime characters next year, which I'm all for that too. But it's just funny that you brought that because right before we started recording, we were picking out Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I wonder if I should try to find like a Robotnik.
yeah,
A little Robotnik.
you said your 7-year-old's gonna go as who? Sonic?
Sonic, yeah.
Oh, okay. Y'all do the theme thing at all?
No, I've not dressed up with them. Up until this point, they've just picked whatever they wanted.
Sure,
It's-
right.
Like my 4-year-old's going as a Disney princess. I don't know which one anymore.
All of them.
Yep. All of them.
Was there anything? Did you look into this CD Projekt Red stuff at all?
Not a ton. I saw they announced they're going to make 3 new Witcher games, and they're all going to release within 6 years of
6
each other.
years. Yeah.
Which I thought that's never going to happen. Maybe
Right.
16 years.
Right.
But maybe it kind that announcement made me think just kind of off the cuff in my head. It's like speculation. I wonder if they look at The Witcher 3 and go, that game was too big, right? Like there was too much to the main part of that game, which absolutely there was. And people really liked the DLCs that were much more focused, like
Right.
12-hour, 20-hour experiences. Maybe that's what these games will be. More of a 20 to 40-hour experience with expansions instead of a freaking 80-hour, 60-hour story with fucking 60 hours of side quests.
They might be looking at what Final Fantasy's doing. This Final Fantasy VII remake, they're splitting that off in 3 separate games. True. So it could be like, hey, we're making Witcher 4, but it's going to be told. And then I seen like someone was saying it, and maybe it's just because I don't know where Witcher 3 goes, but like Dandelion should be the bad guy in the Witcher 4. Which I don't really understand that.
No.
Yeah. I see.
Depends on what it depends on when it's set. I don't think we know when it's set.
Right.
Yeah. If it's a prequel or something after Witcher 3.
And they did announce Cyberpunk's getting a full-fledged sequel.
Yep. It makes me wonder if they're like, because they announced that they're moving away from their engine and they're going to UE5. Makes me wonder if like they're building basically a tool set within UE5 that's going to allow them to do this, what they want to do here. Yeah. Which would make sense, if you build the game, you make more of those games. The Assassin's Creed deal. They've released one of those every year for how many years,
Right.
So.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, then they also said that the Witcher 3 next gen version will be out this year. So, hopefully, really want to see what they do with that. And I know it'll probably look a lot like the game that you were streaming because you had all those mods on yours. So I'm sure it'll be something similar to that. But I did buy it on a Series S, so we'll see how that looks. Yeah. But that's really all I pulled. I'm sure there was a ton of other stuff. But I think that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Well, let's wrap this up then. Thank you all so much for listening today, whenever you listen to this. If you want to check out our past shows, you can go to bitpunch.tech. If you want to send us an email, you can send that to emails@bitpunch.tech. You can follow us on Twitch and Twitter at bitpunch. You can check out our archive streams on our YouTube channel at /user/bitpunch. And check out our newsletter at bitpunch.substack.com. All of these links can be found on our website at bitpunch.tech. And again, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
We will be back in a couple weeks. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.